Most people don't fail because they're untalented. They fail because they stop too soon. They start going to the gym, quit after 2 weeks, start learning a skill, disappear after a month.
Start a YouTube channel, upload 3 videos, then vanish.
The real difference between average people and successful people is usually consistency. In this video, we're going to break down how to build unbreakable consistency using psychology, habit systems, dopamine control. If you've ever struggled with discipline, procrastination, motivation, focus, or staying committed to goals, why consistency feels so hard? Let's start with the biggest thing most people misunderstand. Your brain is not naturally designed to care about long-term goals.
It cares about immediate comfort and immediate rewards. That's why scrolling social media feels easier than studying.
Watching videos feel easier than working out. Ordering fast food feels easier than cooking healthy meals.
Your brain loves instant dopamine. But consistency works differently. Consistency usually gives delayed rewards.
You don't get fit after one workout. You don't become confident after one productive day.
You don't build a successful business after 1 week of effort.
And because results are delayed, the brain often interprets the effort as pointless. This is why most people quit during the invisible progress stage, the stage where improvement is happening internally, but there's no visible proof yet.
A person learning guitar sounds terrible for weeks before improvement becomes noticeable.
Someone trying to lose weight may look the same for a month before physical changes appear.
Most people stop during this phase, not because they're incapable, but because humans struggle to stay committed when results are invisible. That's why consistency is not really about motivation. It's about understanding how to continue even when progress feels slow. Motivation is the worst system.
One of the biggest mistakes people make is depending on motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It changes daily based on sleep, stress, mood, energy, distractions, hormones, and emotions.
If your success depends on feeling motivated, your progress will always be unstable. Think about it honestly. How many times have you said, "I'll start Monday. I'll do it when I feel ready. I'm just not motivated today"? That's the trap.
Highly consistent people are not motivated all the time. They simply stop negotiating with themselves. That's the difference.
The average person debates every task. Should I go to the gym? Should I study now? Maybe I'll do it later. That mental conversation drains energy. Consistent people reduce decision-making. They create automatic systems. The task becomes part of the routine instead of an emotional choice. That's why consistency gets easier when habits become scheduled instead of optional. The less your brain has to debate, the more likely you are to take action.
Build systems instead of relying on discipline.
Most people think discipline means forcing yourself constantly, but real consistency usually comes from systems. A system removes friction. For example, someone trying to work out consistently might fail if every workout requires planning, motivation, and effort just to start. But if workout clothes are already ready, gym time is scheduled, and the routine is simple, consistency becomes easier. The same applies to almost everything. Want to read more? Keep books visible.
Want to reduce screen time? Remove distracting apps from your home screen. Want to eat healthier? Stop buying junk food. Want to wake up earlier? Stop sleeping at 2 a.m.
People often search for magical productivity hacks while ignoring obvious environmental problems.
Your environment shapes behavior more than you think. And honestly, the smartest form of discipline is reducing the need for discipline.
The identity shift that changes everything. This is where consistency becomes powerful. Most people focus only on goals. I want to lose weight. I want to become productive. Identity does. Instead of saying, I'm trying to work out, start saying, I'm someone who trains consistently. Instead of, I want to read more, say, I'm a reader. This sounds simple, but psychologically it changes everything. Because human beings naturally behave according to their identity. Someone who identifies as healthy feels uncomfortable constantly eating junk food. Someone who identifies as disciplined feels uncomfortable wasting entire days. Your actions slowly begin matching the person you believe you are. And most people unknowingly reinforce their bad identities every day. I'm lazy. I never finish things. I'm inconsistent. Consistency becomes easier when disciplined action stops feeling like forced behavior and starts feeling normal.
Start smaller than you think.
This is one of the biggest reasons people fail. They start too aggressively.
And after a few days, they burn out. Your brain cares more about sustainability than intensity.
A habit that survives is better than a habit that impresses people for 1 week. This is why small habits matter so much.
5 minutes of reading daily can create a reading habit. 10 push-ups daily can create workout momentum. Writing 1 paragraph daily can create writing consistency.
Small actions reduce resistance. And resistance is usually the biggest enemy.
People think consistency requires huge effort, but most of the time, consistency is simply making the starting process easier. Once momentum begins, continuing becomes much easier. The hardest part is usually starting.
Stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to be perfect.
Perfectionism destroys consistency. A lot of people think, if I can't do everything perfectly, there's no point. Identity does. Instead of saying, I'm trying to work out, start saying, I'm someone who trains consistently.
Consistency is not perfection, it's repetition.
A short workout still counts. Reading 2 pages still counts. 10 minutes of studying still counts. The goal is one of the best mental shifts you can make is learning how to scale down instead of quitting. If you planned a 1-hour workout but feel exhausted, do 15 minutes.
If you plan to learn for 3 hours, learn for 20 minutes.
Protect the routine first. Intensity can always increase later.
The dopamine problem nobody talks about. Modern life has made consistency much harder. Not because people became weaker, but because attention is constantly under attack. Short-form content, endless scrolling, notifications, entertainment, constant stimulation, all of it trains the brain to expect instant rewards. And over time, deep work starts feeling painful. Studying feels boring, reading feels slow, working on goals feels harder.
This is not entirely your fault. Your dopamine system adapts to overstimulation.
When the brain constantly receives high levels of stimulation, ordinary productive tasks begin feeling underwhelming. That's why reducing overstimulation matters. Less scrolling, less multitasking, less background noise, less constant entertainment.
When dopamine levels normalize, focus improves naturally.
This is also why boredom becomes important. Most people are terrified of boredom, but boredom actually resets attention. When your brain stops expecting constant stimulation, normal work becomes easier again. That's why some of the most consistent people intentionally protect their focus. They understand attention is one of the most valuable resources in modern life.
Why most people keep restarting.
You've probably experienced this before. A new month starts and suddenly you become highly motivated. You create a huge plan. You tell yourself, this time will be different. For a few days, everything feels amazing. Then, life happens. Energy drops, stress increases. The problem is not that you failed. The problem is that your system only works under perfect conditions. Real consistency requires building routines that survive bad days. Because bad days are guaranteed. If your routine only works when you feel great, it's not a strong system. The strongest systems work even when motivation disappears.
Use visual tracking.
The brain responds strongly to visible progress. That's why habit tracking works so well. A calendar, checklist, or streak tracker creates visual evidence of consistency. And that evidence matters psychologically, because one of the hardest parts of self-improvement is feeling like nothing is changing. Tracking solves that.
You may not see physical changes immediately, but you can see that you completed 20 workouts. You may not feel smarter immediately, but you can see 30 study sessions completed. Visible proof strengthens identity. And identity strengthens consistency. Remove friction from good habits.
Most people make good habits too difficult. If going to the gym requires massive preparation, you'll resist it more. If healthy cooking feels complicated, junk food becomes easier. If studying requires setting up 10 different things every time, procrastination increases. Consistency improves when habits become convenient. Prepare things in advance, simplify routines, reduce unnecessary steps. The easier the habit is to start, the more likely you are to repeat it. At the same time, like we have shared in many videos before, increase friction for bad habits.
Want to stop doom scrolling? Log out of apps. Delete distractions. Keep your phone away during work.
Want to stop junk food cravings? Don't keep junk food in the house.
Environment design is one of the most underrated forms of discipline.
Learn to trust slow progress.
This part is difficult for most people because modern culture constantly pushes fast results, fast money, fast success, fast transformation. But meaningful progress is usually slow, and consistency requires patience. A person who improves just 1% daily becomes unrecognizable after a few years. The problem is, people quit before compounding begins.